understand what I'm about to tell you, you need to do something first. You need to believe in the impossible. Can you do that?
What do you desire that you can't have?
When I eat a brain, I get visions.
Don't ever come back to Gotham.
You have failed this city.
Jesus, what kind of a preacher are you?
There's about a dozen ways that I could stop you right now. But I don't think I have to.
In the future, my friends may not be heroes, but if we succeed, they will be remembered as legends.
Welcome to the DC TV report for the week ending Saturday, October 14th, 2017. I'm Edward O'Hare, nicknamed to be determined.
And I'm Sara, academic by day, freelance writer by night.
We're here to bring you recaps, news, and commentary for all live-action DC television shows based on DC Comics.
And oh boy, do we have a lot of them for you tonight.
Yes. Yes. How many episodes do we have this week?
I'm scared to count. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 6?
6.
Is that right?
6 is good. Yeah. Everyone's caught up now.
Yeah.
Like, this is going to be our fall for the foreseeable future.
The CW is back.
Mm-hmm.
Our schedules are full. Our hearts also are full.
Yes. So much to talk about this week. So much. Everything going on. You know, I feel like we're hitting our stride now. All of the DC TV shows are back. Justice League is only about a month and a half away. It's, it's
a good time to be a DC fan.
Yes, it is. As long as you don't read the news, it's a good time to be a DC fan.
Well, isn't it better to be DC than Marvel these days? Marvel had some troubles with the New York Comic Con, did they not? So I feel like DC's sitting pretty.
Yeah. We don't want to badmouth the other guys.
Oh, no, not badmouthing. Just that in terms of PR challenges recently, yeah. I think Marvel had its handful more than DC.
Yeah, you're talking about the whole thing with Punisher, right?
Punisher, and then the partnership with the I'm blanking on the company name, but the weapons manufacturer that did the partnership for the comic book with the Avengers that they announced, and people were like, "Wait, you're making a weapons manufacturer, the like super awesome role model good guys?" And there was some blowback there. So
I didn't even read about that.
Oh, look it up. They have a whole team of fun, scrappy junior superheroes who work for this big weapons company that makes them, and it was to promote STEM, which is great. Definitely promote STEM. They had a mixed gender team, mixed race team of young people working in STEM fields, but it was all on behalf of this company that makes like drones and weapons of war. And some people on the internet were not thrilled that Marvel had done this really, really big partnership, and so they canceled the panel they had planned for it at the New York Comic Con, and it was not maybe the best public-facing story for Marvel in the last week or two. So,
wow.
But DC, friends, DC just brought you plenty of hours of entertainment on your televisions. That's what DC did.
Yes, that's what DC did, and we're gonna start going over. You want to jump right in? Any like chit chat? Anything else?
Your life is good. My life is good. Is your life good?
Life's good.
All right, we're good.
All right, let's just
hop in.
Let's kick it off. So Monday, let's start with Lucifer.
Lucifer, yes. Okay, so Lucifer, we have Chloe and Lucy solving the murder of a stand-up comic, kind of a nobody.
Yeah.
Lucifer is not excited, but eager to hunt down the Sinnerman, who he feels as though the Sinnerman has stolen his shtick.
Mm-hmm.
That he gives favors and he, punishes, and he looks for what people desire, and he's not thrilled that the Sinnerman's doing that. But he does receive a warning from Marcus and from Chloe to tread lightly. Amenadiel and Dr. Linda bond in the most amazing way while they try to figure out what to do with Lucifer's just endless supply of disgusting bloody wings. And the last minute reveal, Ed, I can't do this. You make this more. The last minute reveal, Lucifer was ready to take requests from an endless line of people looking for favors. How did I do? That was my first time doing the summary. Coach me. Put me in, coach.
That worked great. So I think we gotta start with the main story here, which was
yes.
Lucifer and the Sinnerman. And and finding out that Marcus has a connection to the Sinnerman. Now, we were hypothesizing about this when it came up in a news story last week, but it's interesting to see that they're starting very slowly, like baby steps with this.
Yeah, Marcus basically breaks into... Marcus is kind of a creeper in this episode. He's surveilling his agents from afar, his officers. He's breaking into Lucifer's apartment to warn him away. Don't track down the Sinnerman. And he's doing it, I think, for a good reason. He says that the Sinnerman killed someone close to him in Chicago. So he doesn't want to see that same fate befall even Lucifer, basically, is the impression. That he's not a big fan of Lucifer, but even Lucifer, he's like, all right, well, steer clear so nobody gets hurt. So Marcus has some kind of mysterious past with the Sinnerman. Although in the end, he does confirm to Lucifer that, yep, Sinnerman is in LA, is operating, and that the two of them, and only the two of them, can start pursuing that. But he doesn't want to involve anybody else, including Chloe. Chloe's got a kid. She's got a lot to lose were she to be injured or her family come to harm. So the Marcus-Lucifer pairing is quite a lot of fun because Lucifer is so Lucifer and Marcus is so dour. So I'm hoping we see more scenes of the two of them doing Sinnerman stuff.
Yeah. It's interesting. Kind of the place where this leads to. I mean, Lucifer, Tom Ellis is doing his thing, and Tom Welling's just really like, hey man, this is the situation. Just he's a no nonsense kind of guy. Let's just don't bother me, don't question me. This is just what has to happen. And
I like that he's pragmatic. I mean, I think he understands the way the system works. He still wants to help people. He's not one of those who's like, what are you going to do? It's the system. He wants to get results, but he's also, I think, kind of realistic about things. He could have been very straight-laced and very by the book, and I don't get a sense that he's that way. But at the same time, I mean, he calls Lucifer on the, prancing around and calling himself the devil, and by the way, this whole week had such incredibly quotable shows. There isn't a single show that didn't have some line that I was like, oh my god, that's amazing. But Lucifer prancing around, yeah, accurate.
yeah. And one of my favorite things is how he came to the conclusion for the last minute reveal. I love when Lucifer's talking with Dr. Linda and he misconstrues something and takes it in the completely wrong direction. But it makes complete sense for him.
Yes, and it's usually about him. You could be saying, like, it's gonna rain, I'm worried about, I sent my brother out and he doesn't have an umbrella, and Lucifer's like, yes, it would be bad for my hair if I went outside right now because it's raining. And he just always manages to make it, but yet, it's advancing the plot, and it left us with that killer closing shot of Lucifer in his element, lounging on that couch and just listening to plea after plea from people who are wanting to make deals with the devil.
Yeah. To backtrack a little bit, all right, let's talk about the procedural for this. Are you a fan of stand-up comedy?
Is anybody a fan of stand-up comedy?
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, we even my smallish town has a comedy club, and we have been known to attend. No, it's fun. It's fun. It can be cringy, and I think it kind of covered all the gamut there, didn't it? The cringiness of stand-up comedy, but also the really good stuff too, and the camaraderie and the life on the road and the way the guys all get along. I say guys because it seems kind of like a gendered activity. Yeah. Are you a fan of stand-up comedy?
Yes.
Okay, that was so definitive. Awesome.
Yeah, I always, I don't listen as much as I should. It's the kind of thing I always mean to get into. I always mean to go to more shows because, I'm a ferry ride away from Manhattan, where you have probably, 5 of the greatest comedy clubs in the world, arguably. And I just, never have the time to get over there. And what's funny is when you go to some of those shows, the thing that's interesting about stand up is talents vary. You will have, if you have a show where there's 10 comics performing, probably about half of them will be really funny and some of them are not going to be so great. And sometimes it's more interesting to see people bomb.
Well, I'm somebody who kind of likes to look at the technique and the how do you make it work and how do you respond when it's not. It's kind of fun to see, like you say, who succeeds and how, and who bombs and how do they respond and can they pull it out. And you do see the gamut of performance type and comedy type. Wow, we're just really like making stand-up comedy unfun.
No, yeah, we really are. But anyway, this was about a stand-up comedy. Now, the actor who played Bobby Lowe, Kevin Christie, who was the guy that the victim said stole all of his jokes. He's a favorite of mine. He was in a show in the 90s called 7 Days. I don't know if you remember this.
Oh, you have just stumped me. 7 days.
7 Days. It was on UPN. It was a time travel show.
What year?
Late 90s, like late 90s, early aughts. I think.
See, that's heavy in my college years, so I just didn't have a lot of TV. It was X-Files or nothing for me for TV in the late 90s. So.
Yeah, I think it was usually paired with Star Trek Voyager, and that's
okay.
Yeah, no, but the premise was there's a secret government program that has the technology to send one person back in time 7 days. To try to prevent a horrible event, and the actor, what's his name, Kevin Christie. He's also had spots I've seen on Masters of Sex, and but he played this like wunderkind, which tells you how long ago it was. So it's one of those things like, oh, he's here, and it's always nice to see him working. But yeah, this was an interesting side story. It I thought the mystery here was cool. There was a twist where it turned out it was the warm-up comic that did it. It was threatening to
yeah, she didn't want the blackmailer to she didn't want the blackmailer to scare away. Well, no, she didn't want Bobby Lowe to quit.
Yes.
The show.
Yeah.
And so she was trying to get people to go away who would make Bobby Lowe want to quit by accusing him of stealing jokes and whatnot. Mm-hmm. So that's how that was. Yeah. I also like that it was a woman. You don't see the woman as the killer all that often. So that was kind of, yay, women killers. That's equal rights.
Yeah, these are the kind of role models that young girls need.
We do. We need diversity. You can't be what you don't see. And so if you don't have Asian female killers on screen, how can you learn that you can be a killer yourself when you grow up? The more you know. And oh, and I will say that also had a really fun shout out when they were talking about the Chuckle Bunnies, who are the fans who follow the stand-up comedians around the circuit, and and Lucifer loves this idea. What should I call mine? Should I call them Devil Bunnies? And then he suggests Lucifans, which of course is the name for the Lucifer fandom online. That's the name that a lot of them have adopted as Lucifans. So that was a very sweet little thing that the show did. Okay. So yeah, that was a very sweet shout out, I thought, to the Lucifer fandom who have been excited about the show on Twitter and talking about it and spreading the good word. So Lucifans, we see you, we love you, and apparently so does the show, which is awesome.
Yeah. And Amenadiel and Dr. Linda.
Oh, more of that. That was so great.
Yes.
That's not a pairing that we've seen too much. And I've found Amenadiel to be kind of hard to warm up to in the past because he is so serious and so not what Lucifer is in every single way. And that pairing I really enjoyed because Dr. Linda also is serious, but I think she is so much warmer and more just approachable. And so to put those two together and a little bit of therapy and a little bit of physical comedy with disgusting bloody wings, it worked like fire for me. How about you?
Yeah, I thought it was great. I always thought this relationship was interesting because remember they started out with Amenadiel posing as a colleague.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
and then having to come clean with her. But I always find it interesting because they both come at Lucifer from completely different angles. Mm-hmm. So to see them working together, where he's more just trying to figure out the spiritual situation, and how to get Lucifer on the right track, and she's more thinking about psychologically and also just compassionately how to is he mentally okay? And
and I also like that. I thought I saw little hints that she is not okay. That he, Lucifer says, "Should you be back at work already?" And she says, "I'm fine. I'm trained to deal with this kind of trauma." But I don't think she is fine. It looked like she still had some physical pain, and I got a sense that maybe they were setting up she's rushing it back. She's telling everybody she's fine, and I'm wondering if we're going to get a Dr. Linda hits the wall at some point. and has to assess. I don't know. I'd love to see that. Maybe I'm just projecting my wishes for a Dr. Linda storyline. But
we'll see.
Yeah, we'll see. But I am stealing her description of this is a little less referential and a little more angel wing dumpster fire. Like 2017 is an angel wing dumpster fire. I'm using that for everything forever. Thank you, Dr. Linda.
All right. I think that covers Lucifer. Yeah.
Yeah, really. That's the.
Yeah, there was a little bit. There was one news article in here. That's from a while ago. But did you want to talk about it?
Yeah, it was from Bleeding Cool. And basically, the gist of it that I took was that Lucifer and Chloe are going to drift apart a little bit. She's not pleased that Marcus sees Lucifer as her partner, and she kind of wants to prove that she is her own police officer. She is her own detective. Thank you very much. And so that's going to maybe slow down their relationship, keep it a little bit more professional, which Ed, you and I have talked about this, that relationship, the romantic relationship, is probably our least favorite part of this show.
Yeah.
I don't want to speak for you, but that's the way it is for me. So I don't hate that news. If they want to be kind of odd bedfellow police partners, that would be great. And it does also confirm that he is going to keep trying to tell her the truth about who he is, but of course, without his wings and without his devil face, that's going to be tough.
Yeah, and I think it's also the kind of thing. I mean, the tension isn't quite the same, but you find a lot of these shows where you have a guy and a girl dynamics, shows like Lois and Clark or Moonlighting, that once they get together, some part of it just goes away. In the show,
The Office, I'd say recently The Office actually did get them together, and then they kind of wondered, what do we do now? So.
Yeah, and that show went like another 4 or 5 seasons after that.
Oh my God, yes it did.
But
they introduced marital conflict and a Jim and Pam 2.0. They really tried everything they could to keep that going.
Yep.
Let's see, the other tiny little bit of news is that Maze is back next week, if you watched the next week previews. So we're going to get Maze. So if you were missing Maze like I was, we got our Maze.
Yeah, I think next week, or maybe I believe they said the first 2 episodes were going to be in story. And then I think next week might be the first one of those one-offs that they filmed last year.
Yeah, that's so unusual. I shows don't often save something for a whole season and shove it into the new season. So I'll be really curious to see how does it fit. Because ideally, you've had character development and you've had relationships change, and you can tell when it's an older episode if it's a well-written enough show and you have enough character growth. So I guess be on the lookout and see if you notice characterizations that feel off based on what we've come to assume about our characters.
Yeah, because it was a weird situation, because I think Fox ordered 22 for last season, and then they only aired 18. So this was kind of making up for that somehow. That they just rolled those episodes over into here. But they're all meant to be solo stories focusing on one character. So we'll see.
So much for Lucifer. Oh, and I am officially recapping Lucifer full time for Entertainment Weekly now for EW.com. So if you'd like to read a more robust take on kind of the beat by beat action of the episode, you can find my work on EW.com. And I'm doing, like I said, Lucifer.
Look forward to it.
As well as the next show we're going to talk about. I'm doing that full time as well for EW.com this season. Can we shift to Monday television show number 2?
Yeah, let's do Supergirl. All right.
Super sad girl, more like.
Yeah. So it was the season 3 premiere. Let me take this. All right. So basic recap: Kara tried discarding her humanity and burying herself in being Supergirl. Alex struggled to be honest with Maggie about her thoughts on their wedding. Morgan Edge tried buying Catco so they could push his business agenda. And Bloodsport stole a cloaking device to use in an attack on a Supergirl statue unveiling. Last minute reveal: a vision of a screaming, deformed Allura woke up a mother who saved her daughter during the statue attack.
What could that possibly mean for that mother?
Ooh. Yeah. I think you summed it up perfectly. Is there were a lot of emotions going on in here. A lot of people getting in touch with their feelings.
I was frustrated because in my recap, a lot of the comments afterward were people who were complaining about how that sucked and how weak it was and how Supergirl was, not a good role model for women. And I gotta say, let people have their emotions. Like, I know Mon-El was a polarizing figure, and that's putting it very mildly, and I understand that, but Kara loved him, and she made the choice to send him away. She thinks forever. She doesn't know if he's alive or dead, basically. And so let her have that. She's allowed to be sad. People are allowed to feel things. So I was frustrated by some of the response I saw online on my recap and elsewhere of people who were like, "Oh, Kara, she should not. This is not." No. She's allowed. Everybody gets, you go through a breakup and you don't want to be that person and you want to focus on something else. And to her credit, she focused on saving the world, or saving her city. I shouldn't say the world. Let's not get out of, get ahead of ourselves. That's for the crossover. So that audience response really frustrated me, were people who were criticizing her for being kind of a bummer. But, you're allowed to feel your feelings.
Yeah, that's why I try not to read comments.
Unfortunately, I have to, in case I have some kind of typo or so I kind of have to keep track of them if somebody wants to tell me how dumb I am, because I don't know.
Yeah.
This is so. Anyway, but no, you're right. Don't read the comments. Oh
but I mean the thing, I think in a show that has 23 episodes a season, you're allowed some breathing room.
Yeah.
So, I'll give her one episode to feel bad about herself. And then, next week she'll be fine.
Episode after episode, this was the complaint that I think some of us had about Preacher last season, as we're talking about DC TV. And not to get spoilery for those who haven't seen it, but Tulip is just really bummed out and really PTSD about something that happened, and it went on way too long. So if Kara's mopey, sad, I broke the puppy from Friends, if that's a reference that people get. If that's going to go on for far too long, that's going to get kind of old. So, but we got a sense, she got a lot of tough love talk, and I thought Alex was an MVP tonight. I loved everything Alex did. And, that she had been giving her space, and finally, she's just like, listen, you need to stop doing this. And Kara says some things that could be hurtful if she wasn't grieving also. But I loved the sister reconnection that I kind of missed a little bit last season. So I'm hoping they're course correcting a little bit. They got a little bit away from centering Kara, and I'm hoping they'll get back to that and we can watch her, pick up the pieces and move forward.
Now, don't lie to me. Do not, because I know this is true. Yes. When Alex went to John, to Hank, and asked him to give her away. He cried.
I cried. Of course I cried. What am I, made of stone? Of course I cried. Did you cry? Be honest.
Only one episode of television ever made me cry.
Ooh, what was that?
Oh, that was...
was it Star Trek Next Generation Interlight?
No, that's close.
I thought I knew you.
That's
okay,
close.
Continue.
That's really good, Oh, I'll never look at a penny whistle the same way again. No, it was Better Call Saul. When Mike has to admit that he blames himself for his son's death.
Oh my God, that was a good episode of television.
Yeah.
Okay, but you felt something, like your heart gave a sad little lub dub.
Yeah. What's funny? Like, I don't know if it was something with the music at that point, but it's just like this one moment where just like all this swelling of energy. It's like, why am I feeling so much for this?
Because Alex learned to reach out to the family that she's felt. It was so beautiful.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. And I think, I mean, part of this storyline did feel a little forced, in a sense that where it's like, I mean, if Kara's been mourning for like 6 months or whatever it is, and the fact that it's taken this time and Alex and Maggie haven't figured out nailed down the details of their wedding yet.
Yeah, I did think the wedding stuff, I would like to have seen them sort of introduce the Alex is a little ambivalent over a couple of episodes, and then had this conversation, A, not happen over the comms on a mission. That was kind of weird. And B, take place, 3 or 4 episodes in where Maggie finally says, hey, what is up with you? You're not into this. It all felt a little rushed, but well, but like you said, they have 23 episodes. They really, I don't know. And I don't know how many more episodes Adriana Lima. Oh, I'm sure I just got her name completely wrong. But Maggie, how many more episodes Maggie has left? Yeah. So maybe they need to get that storyline in because she's leaving sooner rather than later. That's a possibility.
That's true. Because it also did feel like last season she was probably in about 15 or 16 episodes, and her and Alex and her broke up and got back together in about 13 of those.
The path to true love never did run. I just mangled Shakespeare as well, so not a good night. Not a good night.
Yeah. And we also have a new character in here, which is Morgan Edge.
He was great,
played by Adrian Pasdar.
He was the perfect cocky, skeevy business guy. Oh, it was great. Do you think I mentioned this in my recap, but is he too close to the season 1 character played by, oh, help me out.
Oh, Maxwell Lord. Yeah, I know.
That's
the character's name.
Thank you.
Peter
Facinelli's character. That's the one.
Yeah, I mean, it's weird because I know the comics versions of both those characters pretty well, and Maxwell Lord is really just like this schemer. And they didn't really mention it, but he has kind of like these light telepathy powers in the comics that they didn't really get into in the show. But Morgan Edge is more of just a straightforward businessman, more of like a media mogul. I think he ran for mayor of Metropolis at one point. So he's just more of like a hard tycoon type character. So it is in a little bit of a different direction, but I can definitely see, it's a white guy in a suit, who's looking to make our heroes' lives miserable. So, I can kind of see from that perspective, but it is coming at from a little bit of a different angle. Plus, I thought that Adrian Pasdar was so good in this part that I could just forgive it.
I really enjoyed the antagonism and the way I think it's going to bring out good things in Lena as well. I liked that, she's struggling with her own guilt over being a Luther and what that entails, and he digs right into that and says, you're making decisions based on guilt, and she gives it right back to him. She got the line of the episode, as far as I'm concerned, with, you have all the charisma of a Michael Douglas movie from the 90s. Amazing. So that I'm hoping will continue to bring out fun layers of her character. I will spare you the literal week-long lecture series I have on responsible corporate ownership of media outlets, because that is literally what I teach in my college.
Okay.
Yeah. So, I mean, I can talk to you about how Lena can do this right or wrong and how Edge would have been very, very wrong. I'll spare you, but I'll be really curious how well they handle that, because that's one of those things, everybody when their profession is portrayed on TV has something to say about it. Oh, that's not how that works. So I'll be watching, and I'll try to keep that's not how that works. That's not how corporate ownership of media works. So I'll try to keep it down as much as I can, but I'm very interested. This is very much in my wheelhouse.
Yeah.
Plus, it's going to be more Lena with the group, which will be nice. It's going to fold her in more, so it's not just her and Kara, so she'll maybe interact with James and with James. As I'm thinking about it, who else is left at Catco right now?
I think Snapper Carr.
He's on sabbatical.
Oh, that's right.
If you recall, they did say that. So there's not that Wynn is at the DEO with the rest of them. So, but still, it's going to fold her into the main story more. I think.
Miss Tessmacher. Sorry, I can only say that name that way. But and we got a little bit. What did you think of the main story here, Bloodsport?
Oh, that was the least interesting part. What did you think?
Yeah. I mean, it's one of those like characters that's like, okay, he has a cool design. No one can really peg down exactly what he does or that distinguishes him, but it's a character to throw out there. He's kind of a pawn for Edge. But I think he serves his purpose, and I thought that scene, with the explosion on the water, I thought that was incredible. And if that story led to that, so be it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah.
Fair enough. I thought he had a cool code name. If I was going to go into villainy, Bloodsport would be on my short list.
Yeah. I mean, I mean, if you're a Jean-Claude Van Damme fan, I guess Cyborg's already taken. What?
No, let's talk more about Jean-Claude Van Damme.
I'm still waiting for the second season of the Time Cop TV show. Anyone remembers that? 1997.
Oh, my husband remembers that. Oh my god.
Yeah. Oh. I think it ended on a cliffhanger.
How dare they?
God damn it! People watched it. Not a lot, but someone. Finish the story. Yeah, and we had so they had this random mother have an Incredible Hulk moment.
That's just mom adrenaline.
Yeah.
When a big heavy metal thing falls on your kid, you heft it off of her and you crush the metal with your bare fingers. That's just what moms do. That's cool.
That's what happens. But we did get a little tease of what's to come there. Were you happy with that? Did you want a little bit more, or was that just enough for now?
Well, I mean, if anybody's been paying attention to any of the news, I think you know exactly what's going to happen. That's the thing. It's hard for me to know how many people are going into this completely cold and don't know what's going to go on with that character, because you and I are hyper aware. Yeah, nothing is surprising here. So I was pleased with what I saw. Had I had no foreknowledge, I actually wondered about this. What would I make of that? I think I would have been like, what?
Yeah.
If I didn't know anything about it. But because I did, it was like, oh, no, that's expected.
Yeah, I mean, to me, it was the kind of thing where, like, it seemed like her appearance was so happenstance and just kind of like, oh, we're not making a big deal about this. And the fact that it's Odette Annabelle, who I recognize from other things, it's like, oh no, this is someone I'm going to have to pay attention to. Like, this is, they...
Yeah, I mean, it was clearly too much of an interaction with a capital I for just some random extra that we're never going to see again. So, they set it up, and I liked the character. I mean, they did a nice job of sketching out the likability of the mom, the likability of the kid, the normal mother-daughter thing. So, that's the character I wouldn't mind spending time with. Plus, if she is going to, and you know more about Rain than I do, but is she going to struggle with that world killer impulse? Is that going to be like a Ben is Glory, Glory is Ben, if you're a Buffy person? I'm curious to see that.
Yeah, I mean, this is a newer character that has not been around in the comics very long, so I feel like they have a lot of leeway where they can play around with that. So yeah. Was there any Supergirl news?
Well, just really quickly, if you, as I, were a little bit confused about who that woman in Kara's dream, that was her mother, but it had been recast. It was Laura Benanti. Her Royal Highness Laura Benanti, the queen of all entertainment. Recast as Erica Durance, who, of course, again, is one of those who has that pedigree. She was Lois on Smallville. And so take a second to wrap your head around the fact that Lois from Smallville is now playing Kara's mom.
Okay.
And that should make you feel old.
Yeah. And I think they needed, the fact that they'd recast that actress, they needed to give a bigger hint. Like, she needed to call her mom in that dream. Like, we needed to know. I was
glad that, I mean, I kind of had to sort of coast on, I think that's her mom. And they did say it eventually when she's talking to John on top of the building. I dream about Mon-El and my mother. They needed that much sooner because they recast that actress and they don't look that much alike.
Yeah.
So,
yeah. But,
and just purely aesthetically, the daydream, and again, Mon-El polarizing. Some people were like, yes, Mon-El, and other people were like, get him off my screen. But it was so beautiful. It was just the alien landscape plus the corn, Kara's dress, the gauze, the soft focus, just really lovely. So maybe you were screaming, or maybe you out of excitement or anger, but it was pretty, and I hope you noticed that. Viewers, I hope you noticed that.
Cool.
And I guess if they're going to bring on Bloodsport, do we get to see the Kumite? Is that going to happen? Like, if they have different Bloodsport? Too bad.
I don't know.
Had we moved past the Jean-Claude Van Damme? Yeah. I apologize.
I was trying to figure.
Can you ever move past Jean-Claude Van Damme, really?
No. I think you gotta sweep the leg. You gotta just like. Or is that's a different movie?
It's all in the same wheelhouse. either of us would fight. If we were ever in a gang fight, we'd be like, Kumite, sweep the leg. I don't know, I'm gonna do splits on the back of 2 chairs. It's gonna happen.
Okay, so are we good with Supergirl? Are we moving on?
Yeah, and we didn't really have any news for Supergirl. There's not much happening there, so yeah, let's move on to
The Flash. Season 4 premiere. Take us through it, Sarah.
All right, so Iris holds the team together in Barry's wake. The Samuroid, which is an amazing name, vowed to level the city unless the real Flash showed up to challenge him. Cisco recruited Caitlin to leave her dream as a bartender behind to help the team. Cisco and the team were able to bring Barry back from the Speed Force, but he was not his old self. Last minute reveal, the creator of Samuroid, the Thinker, contemplated his next plan now that Barry's back.
Ooh.
Dun, dun, dun.
The Samuroid. You want to make sure that never ends up your ass.
I was going to say that is a medical condition and you should consult a doctor.
Yeah.
Well, I didn't know anything about the Samuroid, so that end reveal of he's got wires where his face should be. What? I didn't actually see that coming, so that was cool for me.
Yeah, and if you looked on Twitter, there was some the shot of him picking up I think it was Wally with his sword and like throwing him around. That was an homage to a classic cover from the like late 70s or early 80s.
Now answer me this. Does Flash do that more than any of the other CW TV shows? Because last season there was the classic the Barry Allen and Jay Garrick running kind of side by side. Ugh, I don't know.
Yeah.
My husband, the comic guy.
The Flash.
I mean, I swear, I've never seen him so emotional about TV. He was like, pause, go back. Oh my God.
Yeah.
But it seems like Flash does that more than any of the other shows. Am I right?
Yes. And I think partially that's because Flash is kind of like this like center point in the DC universe. Because Barry Allen was the first Silver Age character that like reintroduced because after World War II, like the only real characters that survived were Batman, Superman, and Wonder Woman, and all of the Golden Age characters were kind of put in a closet. And then the first one they decided to bring back was the Flash, and so he's been like this jumping off point for the comics for like the last 60, 70 years. But he has had so many iconic covers, like the Flash of Two Worlds. That was the birth of the multiverse. That was probably one of the most seminal points in the history of comics. But I think his because of the artists he's had, I think a lot of his covers have been more memorable. I think that's why they're referring to that a lot.
Well, I think that's a very cool Easter egg. It does, and it's not the kind of thing that I think just TV fans will know, but the comic fans really love it. So I'm pleased that they're thoughtful of the different fan bases they have.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. So what do you think about Iris taking charge?
I've never liked Iris more than I did in this episode.
Yeah.
I've always been sort of neutral on Iris. I feel bad. I just don't find her... I don't dislike her. I just don't find her super compelling. I don't even find her and Barry's romance. I actually find it kind of icky because he grew up like her brother, which always made me feel a little uncomfortable. But I loved her in this. I thought she approximated more closely her Earth 2.
Yes, Earth 2.
Counterpart, who I loved. I love that Iris. And I liked the take charge. I liked how she was holding it together. A friend and I debated this on Messenger after it aired. She hated Iris in this, did not care for it. I really liked that Iris was like, no, we're not going to go get Barry. And she finally admits, I just can't find out that he's dead. And it'll be like losing him again. And I thought that I thought her motivations were very good and well acted. And boy, when Barry snaps out of it because of love, I might be jumping ahead a little bit. That was a little bit too easy, but you came back to me always. Oh my God. I've never liked them more as a couple. I've never liked Iris more. That was really well done. I don't know. Was I hoodwinked by love or emotions or what was happening with me? Did you feel the same way?
I mean, I don't know. I think it's definitely the strongest that character has been in a long time. I think there was, it's weird because she's in that situation, but at a certain point you just want someone to go out there and go, hey, relax. You want to hug it out for a few seconds? you know, uh, it just kind of like the stress of the situation was getting to her. But I don't know. I kind of go back and forth on it. I think it's interesting that she just naturally takes that leadership role, and even though when it comes to this kind of thing, I think she's the least experienced of the group.
Well, she's never had the skills that fit in quite as well. She's not a scientist, and the team is a scientist. She's not a cop. So she just hasn't and again, I'm going to refer back to you are more critical of your own profession. Her whole journalism career, oh my God, the less said about that, the better. Just the way she got into it, that was not well handled show. Thank you.
Yeah.
So that was part of the reason I think that I've always been a little irked by Iris, because that's not how it works. Yeah. So it was nice to see her have a mission and some kind of drive, I guess, to do something, a role on the team. But you're right, I don't know how well she fits in terms of, like, what's on her resume for that position? What's her CV say for that? How did she... Nepotism, am I right?
Yeah. I mean, her dad and her brother are both on the team now. Yeah. And did Wally age like 2 years over the summer?
Did he look taller and thinner, or was that just me?
Yeah, no, he looked different. He looked like he'd been working out or something.
Well, and I mean, I guess he was going to be the full-time Flash while Barry's away, so I guess maybe he wanted to look like he'd been running the city like that. But I noticeably too, I thought he was just leaner and older. His acting sort of remains the same, though.
I don't think it's that bad. I mean, they don't really give him a lot to do. So
yeah, I mean, it's partly his character. He's just kind of always been the sort of goofy, angsty,
Yeah. And I mean, it's whatever.
Can we spare a quick moment for Grant Gustin's facial hair? Oh, yes. Honey. The highlight of the episode was Joe shaving him, and I'm not snarking. I mean it was bad. It needed to get gone, but the tenderness of Joe shaving Barry, who is out of his head and is speaking nonsense, but Joe stepping up and taking care of him, and that was a very, very nice moment. So there were two reasons I like that. One, facial hair gone. Two, aw, Joe.
Yeah, that was very touching. In fact, he wants to try to connect it with him, and that's the only way he can think of. At the time, and that's, I don't know, I enjoyed that moment a lot too. I thought it was really convenient how fast he just he was Rain Man and then just kind of like snapped right out of it.
And again, I think this goes back to Supergirl too. You've got 24 episodes or however many episodes you have. I'm not saying we want out of his mind Barry for half the season, but it was solved so quickly and so easily, and it would have been fun to see a little bit of progress and a little bit of getting better every day. And I wonder if we were going to have that. Well, we're going to talk about this show later, but I wonder if we're going to see something like that with another DC show that we're going to talk about for Thursday.
Yes. Yeah, and really quick, so Caitlin's back on the team. So now we're back to square one, and nothing from last season stuck.
Well, except that she, flips to Killer Frost sometimes.
Yeah.
Like flipping a switch.
Yeah, but I feel like that's kind of like, she was on the verge of flipping to Killer Frost for most of last season, too.
Yeah, that's true. Well, now she can cleanly go back and forth. And from what I could tell, Caitlin is not aware of it, but Killer Frost is. Did that sound right? Or was Caitlin covering? And it's only when she flips back to Killer Frost that we see the acknowledgement of "ugh, not again" or whatever that was.
Yeah. I think it's more of like an Incredible Hulk type thing. Like it just, she gets angry and it turns on, and then she's got to figure out how to take control of it.
You wouldn't like her when she's frosty.
No.
Actually, I kind of do like her when she's frosty. I think Killer Frost is fun.
Yeah. I think Killer Frost was great. I just thought that whole those jeans. What was up with those jeans? What was going on there? This is not 1987.
Isn't that ready to come back around again, though, trend-wise? I hate to say it, but...
With the cut knees?
Yeah. There's a lot of cut knees. Get online to women's fashion Insta accounts, and you will see I'm a 40-year-old Midwestern college professor. What do I'll stop talking full top.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I don't keep.
I know nothing of fashion.
I know nothing about it, but that just seemed odd, like an odd choice of like this is how we're gonna make her stand out a little bit.
Listen, I trust the costumers on the CW implicitly. They seem to know what they're doing.
All right. Yeah, and we got the Thinker. We got to see the villain straight out. I think this is the first time we actually saw the big baddie in the first episode, and knew he was the baddie.
This is the first non-speedster big bad, right? We haven't had any non-fast fellas for Perry to fight, so that's gonna be interesting.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you had Reverse Flash, you had Zoom, and then you had Savitar. So yeah, this is going to be a different kind of season.
He was kind of Borg, kind of RoboCop. I sort of liked his whole aesthetic.
Mm-hmm.
Again, not knowing him from the comic book, I just was like, oh, hey, cool.
Yay. Mm-hmm. Yeah. I thought that worked well. Okay.
And again, with this, we didn't have a ton of news on this either. I think they're just so glad to have the shows on the air again that they're going to give it to us without much fanfare.
There we go. And I think that leads us into DC's Legends of Tomorrow. Season 3 premiere. A lot of stuff happened, but when you put it down on paper, I think it's a very simple synopsis. We had Rip set up the Time Bureau to fix all the anachronisms created last season and relieved the Legends from their mission. And after 6 months of boring lives in the present, Sara got the band back together after Mick discovered Julius Caesar in Aruba. Last minute reveal, in 1942, Amaya defended a village from a bunch of white guys.
That's truly, for 44 minutes that I really enjoyed, that's all that happened.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, it's weird because you have some of these characters, all these little storylines that are going in here, but it doesn't add up to a lot, but I feel like this was a great primer. Mm-hmm. Where this set up the whole thing where like Rip has the Time Bureau and he thinks he knows what he's doing, and then, the Legends are just kind of like, no, but we still want to be doing this, and they just steal the Wave Rider and they're going off script.
It's the most Legends thing to do.
Yes.
I liked the mundanity of those 9-to-5 jobs that they had, that poor Ray is just wasted at this app development farm, and Sara dreams about murdering her manager at, what was it, Sheets?
Yes.
Steins and Silks? I can't remember what it was called, but it was funny. So there was, I think they drew on the first 2 seasons worth, and then all the previous shows that they spun off from, of their characters and their personalities and what kind of would be the worst fate for the Legends. And, for Sara, it's folding towels. And for Ray, that's nice, sit down. We're swiping up now. But I did really enjoy that. I loved watching Sara best Julius Caesar on a beach in the middle of a toga party. The whole thing was just, mwah.
Yeah. I loved how Julius Caesar, from the get-go, he's like a college recruiter. He's all like, will you join me?
In 2017, if he'd assimilated, he'd be one of those guys trying to hawk credit cards during freshman orientation.
Oh, yeah.
Just sign up here. We'll gift you a t-shirt. Do you want to join me? Low interest.
Low interest, 27%. But, yeah. No, I thought this was great. I thought it was a little weird that Sara would go retail and not try to jump back into the Assassin's game, but I guess she wanted to do the quiet life for a little while.
Well, and the Assassin's game, I think that would be harder. She would probably enjoy that, and so it would be harder sell for her to be like, I'm getting the band back together, so you've got to give her something. But at least, to work as a fitness trainer or self-defense classes or something.
Yeah.
I could be her career counselor. I have a lot of options for Sara Lance that don't involve shelving things.
Yeah, and Dr. Stein and Jefferson can come into like halfway through the episode. And they do the whole thing. See, it's weird because I'm trying to figure out, like, Because I remember, like, the rules for firestorms, like, they had to be, like, within a certain distance from each other, or if they were apart for too long, like, something got messed up with their powers. But I guess they've kind of, like, put that to the wayside here. Because he just, like, shows up to visit, and then all of a sudden the Wave Rider shows up. Convenient.
Well, I think they did say they were meeting once a week.
Okay.
So I wonder if that's... I thought there was some reference to some kind of schedule that they were on, so maybe they were doing the bare minimum that they needed to keep.
Yeah, that's okay. That makes sense.
Fires going.
Mm-hmm.
What did you think about the Time Bureau?
I thought it was really cool. I
did too.
I did too. Yeah, I want that suit. Because I used to wear when I back in my high school speech days, I used to compete in a navy blue 3-piece suit. And those suits, they're a little brighter, but they reminded me a lot of it. And I'm like, oh, I would look so good in that.
In my high school speech days, which, by the way, is why Ed and I get along so well, I had a really stunning purple pantsuit that I competed in. Ooh. Yeah, it was nice. It was nice. I had to have the pants because I did, like, humorous duo, and you have to move around, so, you know. Yep. Okay, so, well, that was sad.
Yeah, no. No, that was fun. That was fun. Yeah, I'm trying.
I love Ava Sharp. She is one of Rip's new Time Bureau agents, and she is the antithetical to everything the Legends are. She seems precise and controlled, and she hates them all. I think, are we supposed to ship her and Sara? Was that just me and the internet? All of the internet? Did you pick that up?
Yeah, I think it was. I saw everyone tweeting about it, but I just didn't get that vibe. You know, unless it's the kind of thing where, like, we have to hate each other before we fall in love.
Hello, yes.
So that might be true. I might just be oblivious to it, but I didn't really get that vibe as much.
Even so, whatever they have in store for them, I enjoyed the antagonism very much. I liked the immediate, rubbing the wrong way, and we know it's going to end with presumably grudging respect, as hopefully. Yeah. I don't know, maybe the show will surprise us and somebody will be horribly murdered, but please not Sara. But no, I liked her. I like that actress who, to my eternal shame, I only know from the television show Mistresses. I'd like to apologize to everyone everywhere for knowing that, but she was actually pretty great on that, and she's fun here. I liked that they had to go on a rescue mission for her, even though she'd been sort of awful. So just the whole thing, like you said, Ed, you really nailed it. There wasn't much that happened, but everything that did happen was just fun.
Yeah.
And also, I have never cared about Nate. There's just this sort of random white boy who's now on the team, and he's a historian. I don't know, Nate just never did it for me. But he and Ray broing it up, thoroughly enjoyed it. This is the first time that I've been like, I am glad that guy is on. I'm glad we have two white guys on the team. Go Nate, go Ray. Well done. High five. So,
yeah. I think it was the kind of thing where, like, when Rip was out at the beginning of last season, that, like, okay, we need someone to bring in who can give historical context, who could, instead of like Gideon giving them a book report at the beginning of every episode. But I thought, I think it makes perfect sense for him and Ray to be best friends.
Yes. Well, there's so much alike. I mean, of course, either they're going to be sworn enemies or BFFs. So yeah, it's nice to see them getting along.
Yeah. And I think also it's weird because, like, they kept, like, touching that Vixen's not there. Mm-hmm. And obviously you had that reveal at the end of the episode, but yeah, it's interesting to see him, like, he still kind of holds that grudge. Like, he has a reason not to like Rip. Mm-hmm. He kind of blames her for Amaya leaving and going back to her own time. So I'm interested to see how that plays out.
I didn't like Rip being separated from the team quite as much last season, and I don't like him separated now. I like when Rip and the team work together, and I hope that comes back into being, just because I like that actor so much. So I'd like to see Arthur Darvill folded back in, but I understand you've got the conflict and the two ways to do it, and that's going to be a lot of fun. I have read some descriptions of upcoming episodes that sound fantastic, so I'm on board.
Cool.
Speaking, do you want to move into news? Do we have anything else to talk about?
No, let's jump right in.
And there's legit news for this, I think, this week. This is the one that we have the most stuff on. Mm-hmm. starting with casting news.
Yes. The return! Yet another time, Matt Ryan gets to come back in everyone's favorite khaki raincoat as John Constantine.
Have you ever seen a character from a swiftly canceled show pop up in so many other shows as the same character? I actually thought about this. I'm sure there are, but it was such a failed show, Constantine. In a show that I didn't particularly care for. I really wanted to like it. I really did, and I really didn't like it. And maybe you felt differently. I just struggled to get into it. But that he shows up on Arrow, now he's going to show up on Legends. That's such a cool little thing for this actor who still has to dye his hair blonde to do this. Sorry, Matt Ryan. Another thing I saw, did you see this as well? Digital Spy reported that he was going to be the chain-smoking bisexual version of Constantine.
Yeah, I saw that. I think I mean, John Constantine's a freak, man. He's into everything and anything. So I'm not surprised.
And how much can you touch on that in a single episode, though, without making him... It seems like that would pull focus from whatever else is going on. But that same article promised hot sex on the Wave Rider. And I don't know if that's a Constantine thing or if that's somebody else. I don't know what's going to happen, but I will be tuned in.
Yeah,
that night.
Yeah. It's gonna be interesting. That is gonna be interesting. I mean, I really liked Constantine. I thought it was definitely a flawed show. I think if that show had been on in the mid 90s on Fox, it would have been an enormous hit.
Yes, it would have. And I think had it gotten a couple more episodes, it was finding its footing. I think it had some casting and some character issues early on, and I think if you'd given it enough time to find its way, I think it could have had just a bang up close. Yeah. It only got one season, right?
Yeah, you got half a season, 13 episodes. And you know what's funny? Like, I remember thinking of it, being lukewarm on it, and then when I was doing the retro picks over the summer, when the Constantine episode came up, I think it was the 4th episode, and I remember going oh my god, this was really good. This was a lot better than I remembered. And maybe it was just one of the 3 or 4 episodes that really hit, but it just really took me aback at how good this show was, or at least this one scene. So I would really encourage people to revisit that.
Should we do a summertime rewatch of that when we have everything in reruns?
Maybe
in 2018.
Yeah. I mean, one step at a time. Let's get through these shows first.
What? Come on, man! I'm already thinking about 2021. Let's do this.
Yeah. But yeah, no, I'd definitely be up for that. I mean, I'm waiting for this DC streaming service to see if maybe we can get into some of those old shows. But yeah, I mean, all John Constantine the whole series is on CW Seed for free. And you can stream that right now. And he did show up in Arrow, I think 2 seasons ago. Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's interesting. And he's voiced John Constantine in a bunch of animated things. He was in Justice League Dark. He's in the new animated thing that's going to be on CW Seed.
What a weird little career thing for Matt Ryan that he just keeps falling into Constantine, animated live action.
Yeah.
Name your CW show, he'll be there.
Yeah. I think it was wrongly placed. I think the supporting characters, it could have been stronger. It was just a weird thing. But there's something there. If you read those books, I mean, you really get the thing you got to remember about Constantine is he's a bastard. And a good Constantine story, it's something where you could tell he wants to do the right thing, but he just can't help himself. And he ends up screwing someone over or forcing someone to sacrifice themselves into the situation because he knows it's the best thing, but he's such a bastard doing it. All right, that's enough waxing. What else is going on? There was another big piece of news here, right?
Well, some sad news. Victor Garber is leaving the show so he can do Hello, Dolly on Broadway with Bernadette Peters, which I support. Mm-hmm. But will you miss him?
Yes.
Or is he less essential to you?
Okay. So yeah, what I was saying is Victor Garber is probably the highest profile actor on the show. And I think he lends a certain amount of fides to anything that he takes part in. And while the character is they counted him. I'm interested to see who they bring, or does Jefferson find another partner for Firestorm? Does maybe Ronnie Raymond come back into the picture somehow?
And that could be kind of interesting. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
All I know, Victor Garber is forever Spy Daddy from Alias in my heart, so I will miss him when he goes. But I hope he gets a happy ending. You know, I hope he gets to go off into the sunset with his daughter, and I just hope they don't blow him up on some remote planet or something. So.
Yeah, it's not going to happen.
Let's see. Really quickly, the Dominators are coming back on the Halloween episode.
Ooh.
That will feature, the comic book resources reported that it's going to feature Ray's life is in danger, and they're going to show a young Ray. And what I didn't see in that article was young like new actor playing him young, or young like we're going to put Brandon Routh in like t-shirts and backwards baseball caps. So I'm not quite sure about that, but we will see the Dominators again. Of course, we saw them in the crossover last season that the CW did, all the CW shows.
Yeah, and they also showed up on Supergirl briefly later in the season.
So I'm not sure what kind of mischief they'll be up to, but the Legends will be on it. And Rotten Tomatoes had a big article reporting on the new characters that are coming to some of the CW DC shows this season, most of which we'd already been introduced to, but they said that coming soon for Legends this season is Isis.
Ooh, Isis.
I didn't see an actress announced with it, and I gotta be honest, again, coming with no comic background to this, my first thought was, does this relate to the Hawk people? Oh god, please no, not the Hawk people.
No, it doesn't.
Okay.
Although it could if you wanted it to.
I do not want the Hawk people. I do not.
Not a Hawk man? The most convoluted backstory in comic book history.
No, tell me more about Vandal Savage.
Yeah, no. Isis is someone who actually I think originated on the 70s TV show. It was a spin-off of Shazam. But she did make a big appearance in 52, the maxi series that came out about 10 or 12 years ago. It's interesting. I from what I've read, this character is going to be very different in the show. She's going to start out as a hacker from the future. And I don't know if she'll get those powers. I doubt they'll call her Isis.
I would think not.
No. But it's it might just be the same character in name only. But hey, it's pulling from the comics, and interested to see where they take that.
It did say that she would join them on the Wave Rider, and I gotta be honest, I feel like the Wave Rider is full. I don't like adding new people. I felt like it was a little too full. Maybe that's why I objected to the Nate thing, and even Amaya I never really warmed up to, just because I liked the original core that were on the Wave Rider, and I just didn't ever feel like the new people added a lot. And so another person coming on board, even if you're losing Martin.
Yeah, we're losing Martin, and Vixen isn't around anymore.
Yeah. So we'll see. I trust. I like the show. I think it had a good season 2. I'm excited about season 3, so I'm staying optimistic. But there has to be a good reason to have a new person on that ship, because you have such fun characters already. I hate to dilute that, but that's my cranky get off my lawn view.
All right. Moving on to
the last day of the week that we have DC TV.
Yeah, Thursday. At Gotham.
Yes.
All right, take it away.
All right. So, Bruce and Alfred left their brand new knife with the museum curator who ended up dead by Ra's al Ghul's hand. Bruce and Jim worked together to try to solve the murder and protect the curator's nephew. Ed tried luring Oswald with really, really crappy riddles. Sophia tried playing innocent with Oswald, who ended up using her to get to Carmine's cronies. And last minute reveal, the GCPD escorted a smiling Ra's into prison. So I was very much a Rorschach, I'm not in here with you, you're in here with me. When you put Ra's in prison like that, don't you think?
Yes. And Alexander Siddig.
Oh, he's so good.
Is so good. And you could tell that he's having so much fun with this part. And they're doing some very different things then I think you've seen Ra's al Ghul before. You know, the fact that he's doing his own dirty work. He's going undercover. He's showing his face in broad daylight.
Oh my god, when he showed up in like tweed and glasses, incredible.
You know, what's funny, like
he could kill you with those glasses, but he looked good wearing them.
That's when this show feels a lot more like Lemony Snicket. Am I right?
Yes. I'd never made that connection, but you're so right.
Yeah. I mean, like even when he, you know, in his normal getup now, like when he was walking around the museum, he kind of had that like Count Olaf vibe to him. But I love it.
But you know, they do. You're right, though. They do kind of share that overblown, almost whimsical aesthetic. That's very astute. Well done. I like that. That's changed kind of the cool.
So yeah.
Process of thought. Wow.
Yeah.
But can we also, speaking of Ra's, can we talk about they killed the kid? Oh my god.
Yeah.
I did not expect that. And I know nobody stays dead in Gotham, but that felt pretty dead, didn't it?
Yeah, Gotham throws down.
Yeah. I mean, a lot of shows would really wuss out and not kill the kid. They killed the kid.
Well, you know what? But like, this is another great character development. Like Bruce learns that he can't play fast and loose with people's lives. You know, I think it's the kind of thing. And what's funny is like Ra's applauds him on his principles on that, like the fact that he's willing to stick to his guns. But you know, Bruce still feels horrible about it, and he blames himself for it. You know, but like based on that kind of thing, for the good of the show, he can't get that knife. I don't know. I was really torn in that moment, but I thought it was very ballsy for them to go in that direction and to really stick to it.
Well, and the funny thing was, I asked Jason as we were watching it, hey, do you recognize that kid's name? Is he going to grow up to be some contemporary Batman's who's a villain, who's a good guy? And Jason was like, oh, I don't think I do. But I just kind of assumed that this was somebody who's going to grow up to parallel Bruce in some way, and then bam. So yeah, well done.
Yeah. I was getting that vibe too. I'm like trying to figure Alex Winthrop. What's there? And I couldn't think of anything off the top of my head. And yeah, I think that was a great misdirect. That was very, very solid writing.
Although I didn't love the dog boy and the tracker. I don't know.
No. I think every week Gotham is just going to throw down. And like they're just going to throw something out there that's totally stupid and ridiculous and make you fall in love with it. I was like all down with Dog Boy.
I got all of my enjoyment out of the Riddler this week. And Penguin, that's where all of my joy came from. And Sophia, of course. That's just going to be a constant, I think, this season.
Riddler's story was so sad.
Oh my god. Yes, I think this, seriously, the Riddler's, I mean, his thing is his intellect. And for his brain to be broken, that's really tragic. I mean, it's just the worst possible fate for him. But oh my god, when Penguin finally says lying, speaking, crying, you're just describing a range of human behavior. Oh, so good. Oh, those two last night was great.
And I thought that was a great resolution to that storyline. When Penguin just goes, you know what? No. That's the real punishment, is for you to live forever like this. You know,
well, and that's what I was talking about, as opposed to Barry, whose broken brain was immediately fixed for love of Iris. I mean, I'm assuming we're going to see the Riddler get better. I'm assuming.
Wow.
Well, maybe not.
Maybe. We'll see.
What do you know? Don't tell me. Okay. But I mean, that's kind of what I was thinking, is I was assuming we'd see slow growth for the Riddler. And I think that'll be very cool if they do that. If they don't do that, that's awful and tragic. But if he keeps coming up with terrible riddles, that'll be great. I'll take that too. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, but to me, that was like the ultimate. That was like Leonidas turning to that deformed guy in 300 and going, "May you live forever." Don't ask me to do a Gerard Butler impression. That's all I got. That's it, right there.
I mean, a Gerard Butler impression is just my abs, is it not? Behold my abs.
Yeah, and so the Sophia stuff, and like with the last couple of episodes, we were talking about how Penguin does not have a lot to do. This episode, he was not around a lot, but he was very effective.
He did stuff, yes. Again, I'm enjoying that character. She has agency, and she is stating what she wants, and she has motivation also. Ugh. Angry kissing. Listen, you invited a woman to be your co-host. We're going to talk about angry kissing. That was some good stuff. So, good. Yes, Gotham.
Yeah. I mean, this is just probably a mental block. But, like, whenever stuff like that happens, I never understand why. I can never make the logical leap. Probably because it's emotional.
I'll try to up the EQ for this podcast. What do you need?
Yeah. No, just like how did they go from like this? Okay, Penguin's awful. Oh, this is so bad. I feel bad about my dad. And like, all right, let's kiss.
Yeah, no, that makes total sense to me. 100% sense. Hello. You know, the thin line between love and hate. You're screaming, you're yelling, you're worked up, and then you're kissing. It happens. Yeah. There's a fireplace. There was a fireplace. In my head, there was a fireplace. So, you know, it's just logical.
Yeah, it felt like an episode of Frasier.
No, it's the movie Top Secret from the 80s when they make passionate love in front of the fireplace and the camera pans around the room across another fireplace. Oh, so beautiful. Val Kilmer has never been finer in any movie. I will fight you on this. I will die on this hill. Top Secret. Look it up.
All right. News for Gotham. Anything real quick?
I had nothing for news for Gotham. Did you?
One thing, someone said that, just one other story on comicbook.com. Another person said Jerome is not going to be the Joker. I feel like we've talked over again, just kind of like, because it's his own thing. I don't know. And these things are always really vague into the terminology. It just, sometimes comicbook.com, that website will just take a blurb that someone says and turn it into a whole story. So I don't know what that's worth, but it's there. But that's really it. I think next up, our final show for this week.
Arrow
Season 6 premiere. And
did you think the flashbacks were over? Psych! You're never gonna escape the flashbacks, suckers!
Nope. We kicked it right off with a flashback to the island 5 months ago. Samantha died. Thea was put in a coma.
How dare they?
And Quentin and Dinah ran into Black Siren, but let her get away. Then in the present, Black Siren blew up a police precinct, and the team worked to find her next target. Quentin thought he was Siren's target and blamed himself. Diggle's marksmanship was off. Wild Dog got hurt, but Oliver got him a new custody hearing for his daughter, Zoe. And Oliver is caring for William now and struggled to connect with him. Last minute reveal, Channel 52 News showed photo evidence Oliver is Green Arrow.
Tell him you're a cosplayer, Oliver. Tell him your girlfriend's into some kinky shit. You can do this. I believe in you. So I was a little disappointed in this episode.
Okay.
For a couple of reasons.
Go ahead.
They played this ridiculous Who Survived the Explosion game all summer long. We know who survived the explosion. I mean, there's casting news all over the place. There's set leaks. There's photos. So they've been weird and cagey about who survived. And then in the first 30 seconds, they showed Diggle, who was one of the people who they're like, did he survive? Did he not? It was just a dumb game that the show played with the media and with fans over the summer in an irritating, insulting, or unintelligent way. The only casualty is Samantha. Come on. if you're going to have this big thing and you kill Samantha, and also Thea, of course, I'm very, like, all of my notes are all caps, like, what are you doing to Thea Queen's show? How dare you? But I think that actress is not wanting to be on the show as much as she has been. That has been my understanding. So having her in a coma lets her, come and go. But just the whole, like, island, what, anybody could go at any time, and then it's Samantha who goes, and she dies in Oliver's arms. Please be a father to our child. It was so cliche and the most obvious approach to it that everybody kind of joked all summer long, this is what's going to happen, and 100% that's what happened. So it was a little cliche and paint by numbers, and I don't know that I expected anything different, but William calls Oliver Oliver. At some point he's going to call Oliver Dad, and the music is going to swell. You can see it all laid out. I'm not into the sun thing. I don't know, maybe I feel differently, but...
Well, yeah, I agree. I feel very much the same about this episode that I did about Flash, where we went into a bunch of interesting directions, and by the end of the premiere, we're pretty much back where we started. The only character they killed outright was the only person on the island who had never been a regular or recurring character on the show.
And I mean, I get it. I understand you don't want to kill off your babies. I understand that, but I mean, they got some chaff on that team, don't they?
Yeah, I think this is the kind of thing, like, if you didn't want to kill all those people, then you shouldn't have put them in danger.
Don't spoil it. Yeah, don't tease it. Not spoil it, but don't tease it that way all summer long. Like, who survives? Yeah. All of them. Literally all of them. Okay.
Yeah, and I mean, I don't know. I think, I've put this on Twitter, but I've mentioned it to you, and I know you don't like the Oliver and William thing, but my idea for this was that we flash forward 5 years in the future, and Oliver and William have like a Batman and Robin thing going where they're both working together as superheroes, and we flash back to 5 years before them rebuilding their lives after everyone died.
That is maybe the only outcome that I would look forward to, would be seeing how that would play out and what that would look like. But the whole Oliver learns to be a dad thing, and the kid is petulant, and I mean, I don't mean to downplay the obvious trauma he's experienced, but that's not the kind of story. I just don't know what fan is out there like, yeah, Oliver is a dad, let's crush this. Comic book fans, I don't think they want that. I don't think non-comic book fans want that. I don't know.
Yeah, also, the other thing to consider here is, I don't care what she said while she was dying on an island with no witnesses.
That's not a legal binding contract?
Yeah, the legal system would have something. That kid's ending up with his grandparents. I'm sorry. Yeah. I mean, you run the DNA test. Okay, you're his dad, so that means you're paying child support.
Wait,
all right?
This man who was assumed dead for all these years, who came back with scars and has all these run-ins and brushes with the law and this and that. No court is going to be like, oh yeah, full custody. Yeah. Have fun.
Yeah, let's see him pass the psych eval.
Maybe Oliver had a really great attorney. I mean, Adrian Chase was his attorney, and he's now dead, so he had to go searching for a new attorney, which was rough, I'm sure. But, you get somebody who fights on your side real hard, maybe. But, yeah, you're 100% right. That is Grandparent City. Oh, my God. Especially because the other side, the grandparents' attorneys would be like, well, it's the housekeeper's going to be raising him. Oliver's got, he's the mayor. He's busy all the time, so.
Yeah. And also, the other big thing here is, that I know Bill Sweeney, our executive producer, will be up in arms about, is that they do bond at the end of the episode, and it's over sports.
Yeah. I'm with you, Bill. And if my father, newly returned to my life, not even newly returned, but like new to my life father figure was like, hey, buddy, let's go see baseball, that would do it for me. I would be emancipating myself. No, you're not taking me to baseball. No.
Well, also, I love when he asks baseball or football. If it was football, if you had just been like, nah, it's okay.
No, I'm good. Thanks. Keep walking. Shut the door on your way out.
Yeah. So this is, I mean, it's first episode, so it's going to take some time to warm up. Yeah.
I want you to just keep your anti-Olicity views to yourself for just a second. I really liked the way they showed that relationship without overdoing it. They clearly are taking things slowly. There seems to be something there. There was this, I was about to call you. You need to turn on the TV. So I think they very subtly implied a rebuilding of a relationship, but reluctance on everybody's part to rush things because of William. So for those whose hearts beat, love dub, Elicity.
I actually think that like now would have been the perfect time for them to get back together, because I think she would probably have a much easier time connecting with William than Oliver does. And
you think the woman coming in and replacing Mom?
Not replacing Mom. I think I think
you're gonna think that.
You could have handled that better. I mean, I think not that, you just say that, she's his girlfriend and she's interested in this kid and she wants to make sure he's okay. Yeah. And she doesn't try to be a mom to him. She tries to be a friend.
Yeah.
And I think Felicity would have a lot better time connecting with him on that level.
Yeah, no, I agree. Because Oliver is a little emotionally closed off sometimes, shall we say. Mm-hmm. So there's that. I think we're going to see that. I'm guessing we're going to see a pretty rapid speed up in that relationship, and I'm guessing we're going to see a little bit more family unit stuff coming up. That's my take on it.
Yeah. And also the two people who he goes to advice for in this episode is one guy who's lost 3 of his 2 daughters.
I mean, that takes talent. 3 of your 2 daughters.
and it's just an emotional wreck. The other guy is like, oh yeah, I've just found out where my son is because I haven't seen him in 20 years. So I'm going to tell you how to connect.
By the way, can we talk about mainland suburban dad Slade Wilson in his flannel shirt and his khakis, looking like he's going off to Home Depot to pick up some lumber to build a treehouse? Perfect.
Yeah. Actually, if you read the Deathstroke comic book that's on stands now, Slade interacts a lot with his daughter Rose. And that's actually a lot more fun, because she's kind of this. She's also a hitman, who's. I won't spoil it for you. Just read it. And he has an interesting backstory because he's much older in the comics.
Hey, I have a comic question for you, and it is sparked a little bit from a quip tonight on behalf of Black Canary, who says, Black Siren says to Black Canary, "Nice outfit. I would have gone with fishnets," which is funny because of the comic book.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
Okay. So I have heard a lot on the interwebs about how amazing Black Canary in the comics is. I thought Katie Cassidy sucked as Black Canary. I did not like her Laura Lance. I did not enjoy that. I thought she was miscast. The only good Katie Cassidy is an evil Katie Cassidy. Evil blonde Katie Cassidy is fantastic. So Black Siren, I don't want her there, but if we have to have her, I'm glad she's being evil because that's what Katie Cassidy can handle. Anyway, I really want to read some of the comics that show awesome kick-ass Black Canary. Is the DC Universe Rebirth series a good place to start? The one that came out a couple years ago?
Yes, it is a perfect place to start. Okay. The run written by Benjamin Percy, because it kind of kicks off with them starting their relationship.
Okay.
And like Green Arrow and Black Canary in the comics are the ultimate fun couple of the DC universe.
And that's what I keep hearing, and that's why I think there's so much resistance to the Felicity Oliver thing online, because because Dinah and Oliver are such like hashtag goals, right? And so I really, really want to see what the hype is about, because if there is a strong couple and a strong female character like that, I'm very into that. So I was curious if that would be good. I saw a cover of the 2 of them from that run, maybe issue 8, I think, of them kissing on the island.
Yeah.
I was like, whoa, that is fire. I need to look into that. So I was wondering if that would be a good place to start. So good, I will do that.
That's incredible. What else do we need to touch on in here? We kind of covered that.
I guess Diggle was injured. We didn't see how Diggle and Felicity survived. We saw how Thea was found. We saw how Black Canary was found. Oh, I guess Quentin Lance shot Black Siren. Oh God, I keep doing that. Black Canary, Black Siren. Lance shot Black Siren as she was about to kill Black Canary. And feels really guilty about that, because I don't think he understands how doppelgangers work.
Yes.
It was a lot of, I shot my daughter. Well, I mean, you shot a daughter, but... So if it's going to be a whole season of that, that's going to get kind of old.
Yeah. Yeah, also, I'm seeing some people getting confused by that last line that Black Siren says to him when she walks past is like, if I had been you, I would have pulled the trigger. And I think people are saying like that he didn't actually shoot her, that the bullet came from someplace else. And
no, I didn't interpret it that way at all. Did
no,
you?
I didn't. But again, this is another thing. Reading Twitter, getting confused, and also it's one of the things where like I'm writing notes vociferously, and I'm like, did I hear that right? I don't know. I gotta like go back and watch the episode. But yeah.
No, I interpreted that as her saying, well, and I guess there's two ways you could look at the way I looked at it. It was her saying either, had I been you, I would have shot me, or had you been in that situation, I would have shot you. But either way, I think the sentiment is the same to me. I don't think it was saying that he didn't shoot. I think he shot. Mm-hmm. Now, who came and pulled her from the wreckage?
Yes.
What's your guess for that?
I don't know. I don't know. I think I don't want to speculate right now. I mean, have they announced a big bad for this season yet?
There's a couple. Ben from Lost. That's all I can think. Michael Emerson. I got there. Michael Emerson from Lost is going to be the big bad. I mean, if I can speculate. Mute this for 20 seconds if you don't want speculation. I think he's going to be the super hacker from last season that Felicity's group
Helix
fell into. Yeah. I think he's going to be the head of Helix, whose name was announced and I can't remember. And I think maybe he also... Have we met Felicity's dad?
Yes, we have.
Okay, so it's not going to be her dad, but I think he's going to be the head of the super hacker group. But it could be him, and he could be somebody different. He could not be the super hacker. But if you have Michael Emerson, who is just a smart actor, I think you make him a super hacker. That just makes sense. One of the news stories I had is that they've cast Kirk Acevedo as Ricardo Diaz / Richard Dragon.
Oh.
That was reported on Rotten Tomatoes.
I did see. Yeah, Richard Dragon. That was the name that was coming up.
Yeah. Kirk Acevedo you might know from Fringe or 12 Monkeys, or I guess Prime Suspect. It depends on how your viewing tastes run. So I don't...
I remember him from Law & Order Trial by Jury.
All right, fair enough. But it could be one of those two. Those are two that I've heard announced. I think we also have Vigilante still running around, so I guess it could be Vigilante, maybe?
Yeah, I don't know. I know. See, those are all like low-level... I mean, not low-level, but those are all like lone gunman type characters, like assassins or hitmen. Not really the kind of like big global conspiracy types. So...
Yeah, so I don't know. I guess we'll see.
We'll see.
So that was the Quentin Lance thing. Oh, Diggle. Yeah. I sidetracked myself going through all that. We did not see how Diggle and Felicity survived the island, so I'm assuming that's going to be another round of flashbacks in a future episode. But Diggle seems to be really struggling with PTSD or something like that. I'm not a psychologist. I cannot diagnose him. But his handshake. He's not wanting to use his weapon. Things like that. So. Yeah.
I detected a little bit of overacting there. I thought it was a little much. And I understand, that's a really difficult kind of thing to play off, but I think they laid it on a little thick.
Yeah.
And also Wild Dog.
I got a new outfit.
Yeah, I like the new costume. I think it makes sense. It's metal versus plastic is always good, although it didn't really do him much good this episode.
No, none of the physics of that made sense when Wild Dog gets knocked off the bridge and Oliver, I mean, it was dramatic. He shoots an arrow into a dude and leaps off to catch him, but Wild Dog is like crushed on the asphalt by the time Oliver gets over the edge of the bridge.
Yeah.
Isn't he? I mean, cool, but I only took high school physics, but I feel like a body in motion falls faster than Oliver can shoot an arrow into a dude. So
and but he's got another chance at Zoe. You wouldn't think extenuating circumstances. They could have made another appointment, but
kidnapped by psychopath.
I think that's a good excuse. Just saying. And was there any news for Arrow?
The Kirk Acevedo thing was really it, although EW had an interview with Stephen Amell who said he did not burn the flashback wig. Now that he's done with the flashbacks, he had the chance to take that disgusting rat pellet of a wig and set that ablaze, and he decided not to. So I thought that was magnanimous of him.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay, so I think that covers it. I think now it's up to our winner for the week.
Winner of the week. And this got much harder, didn't it?
Yes, it did. Yes, it did. Who wants to go first?
Do you want to go first?
All right, I'll go first. So, you know what's funny? I was thinking like, okay, it's gonna be something within the Berlanti verse, because everything's gonna go. But I gotta tell you, Gotham this week. My winner for the week was Dog Boy.
We have never been more diametrically opposed in our opinions as we are this second. Dog Boy. Go on, tell me more.
It's the kind of thing, like, with this show, you've got to revel in the absurdity. Just kind of like...
Yeah, it is pretty berserker.
Yeah, it's kind of like, okay, we're going to legalize crime. All right, fine. Let's see what happens. All right. You know, we're just going to we're just going to thaw people and they're going to be fine. All right, what's good? All right, all right, so we got Ra's al Ghul in town, and he has a medieval goon with a human dog on a leash. All right, fine. Let's see what happens. I'm up for it. And you know what? That actor, I think needs like when like Shirley Temple, or like when a big child star in like the 40s would give a good performance and they give him like a half-size Oscar. It's like a little kind of like commendation. Hey, you made us a lot of money this year. You have this. Yes. I think that actor deserves like a quarter-size Emmy, because he like threw himself into that.
I am glad that performance left an indelible mark on you. That's really nice. So my winner of the week, I think at this point you have to always assume it's Victor Zsasz. Like, always. He's my favorite part of Gotham every week. He's amazing. So just assume in my heart it's Victor Zsasz. But for this particular week, I'll try to, shake it up a little bit. Mm-hmm. I'm going to give it to the surrogate dads. So you've got Joe and Barry. And like I mentioned, Joe, shaving Barry as Barry is out of his head, having returned to Earth. Mm-hmm. You had John and Alex. Alex asking John to walk her down the aisle because her dad can't do it. And as we discussed, there were tears. And then I didn't mention this in the discussion, but Alfred and Bruce. Every time Alfred refers to Bruce as my boy, I just get a little like, yeah. So there were some very nice surrogate dad moments that happened in a couple of shows this week that I just thought were emotional and built on character development and showed how these characters react and relate and kind of deepen some of them, and were nice things to watch. So I'm going to give it up to the surrogate dads.
There you go. Okay, you're getting all sentimental.
Yep, and you chose Dog Boy. I just want to point that
out. All right, so that's the DC TV report for this week.
Ooh, this is how we're going to do it every week. We've got all these shows now. Did you keep up, listeners? Did you do okay? Did you make the sprint with us?
So yeah, you can find us on Twitter. I'm at Edward O'Hare TBD.
And I am Sara Netzley, SaraNetzley.
Okay, and you can follow the show on Twitter at DCTV Report. Send along your emails to dctv@wick3.com. Also, be sure to subscribe to our show on your podcast app of choice, and check out our sister shows, Wicked Theory Podcast and Preacher vs. Preacher. This has been a Wicked Theory Studios production. Executive producer, Bill Sweeney. Visit us at wickedtheory.com. Shazam, everybody. Say Shazam, Sarah.
Shazam!
Shazam!